Paul Grunberg, our guest, he's a general manager at a very trendy, do you like that word? Very, not trendy, because then it sounds, I don't know, that the trend might go away.
Very cool.
Very cool restaurant
Very cool.
in Gastown called L'Abattoir. How did it begin?
I have the pleasure, and I'm very fortunate to work with some amazing people, and my business partner, chef Lee Cooper. He had a vision to have a restaurant as well. So we met at Market by Jean-Georges, where he was a sous chef.
Jean-Georges Van Rieten from New York.
Jean-Georges, yes.
Jean-Georges, whoa.
Yeah. So we met at his restaurant, and you know, the next step was coming for both of us, and it worked out really well.
Right.
I went on after Market to do an awesome little project, a big project, I should say, Bao Bay, working with Tanis Ling.
Is she the bartender or the chef?
Tanis is the owner, but she could also bartend.
I remember her somehow as a bartender, killer bartender.
Killer bartender from Chambord. So L'Abattoir sort of, it came about there, you know, Lee, myself, and we have a third business partner as well. We all had a collective vision, and we all knew what we wanted to do.
Okay.
And it came really naturally, even from the design meetings to the concept of service, to this is the kind of food we're going to do, to the picking of the plates, to picking of what we wanted the staff to wear.
Right. The devil's in the details.
That's right.
So much.
That's right.
So even if I feel comfortable at a table, if the chair is comfortable for me, if I can feel the buzz in the restaurant, because you can create a big, beautiful restaurant and get two people in it and it feels terrible.
Absolutely.
As you know.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Is anybody coming?
Yeah.
And how do you decide? It's, you know, are we going to have a busy night or a not so busy night? Well, how many people to put on staff?
I think you want to be in a situation where you don't have to think like that.
Okay.
Where things just happen naturally. And obviously there's patience involved, but these types of things happen naturally. If you have a great product, chances are there's a lot more than that.
Right.
It's not that easy, but as far as staffing goes, you really just do the best you can, and business levels will tell you what's needed.
Sure, but then the food has to be good.
The food has to be not just good. I think, and I've heard it more recently, if you can be successful in Vancouver, you can go play with the big boys on the East Coast. I mean, not necessarily, I'm not saying you should do this, but it's a tough market. But I think Vancouver is probably one of the toughest food cities in Canada for sure. And you know, I've worked in New York, I've worked in Europe, and they're tough cities as well. But it's Vancouver's tough. You know, it's a fickle town.
It is a fickle town,
you know?
and one day you're the hot commodity, and the next day you're not, unless you have some kind of longevity, like a John Bishop, where he constantly he watches everything. You know, if there's not a piece of parsley on the plate, he puts it on before it goes out into the restaurant.
Right.
But he also realizes that eating locally, you know, serving a fiddlehead green, whatever it is, wherever we are in our consciousness, he taps in.
Yeah.
Organic, whatever it is.
Totally.
Or people are into meat again, meat and potatoes, go there.
Right. Meat and bread.
Meat and bread.
That's right.
Yeah. Or are people cocooning? Are they feeling desperate? Is the economy down? Is the economy up? It's complex. But everybody you talk, and almost everybody you talk to says, one day I'd like to have a restaurant.
Why?
Why?
I don't know. I think they got to ask themselves that question again.
My grandfather always said a pancake house, because you can throw the batter out, it doesn't cost you much, the bacon doesn't spoil.
Right.
But when you start adding lamb chops and mussels and fish and things like that, that's where the money goes out the door.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is pay your customers to eat at your restaurant.
I guess.
You know?
Yeah, I do know. So what kind of food at L'Abattoir?
The food.
Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah, totally. The food's brilliant. It's really it's assertive flavors. It's, you know, the name L'Abattoir means slaughterhouse, and you would think that a name like that would mean you're getting, you know, pretty aggressive food. But
red meat and alcohol.
You know, which you can get, but the food is beautiful. It's sort of Pacific Northwest, French influenced. Lee is one of the most talented, I would say the most talented chefs I've ever had the pleasure to work with.
Really? So like what?
The guy's amazing.
Some of your favorite things on the menu?
Well, the steak Diane.
You have to eat there a lot,
I do, yeah.
I know.
The steak Diane is probably my favorite. Bone marrow croquette, peppercorn condiment, fondant potatoes, which are just like butter roasted potatoes, the best. I really like we have this warm steelhead salad right now with fresh horseradish, dill, crunchy potatoes, just the hot, the cold, the crunch, the soft. It works really well. His palate is awesome.
You know, we went through a period, and you were there, I'm sure, when all the food was stacked. My dad hated that.
Oh,
he said,
I see.
You know, they were doing stacked
like
food.
5-10 years ago.
Get a big plate, and it was all on top of.
Right.
You know, the beet on top of the potato, on top of the
and then the oil
chicken,
around it.
and then the oil around it. It was all decorated.
Yeah.
And you were a little afraid to dive in. Not that it wasn't pretty. It was. So what are the trends now, plating-wise? Does it depend on the restaurant?
I think so. I think it depends on the concept, and I think it should depend on the concept. I think that's part of knowing what it is you're trying to say through your craft, and then playing with it.
Sure.
I started, I mean, I think you talk about organic and you talk about sustainable. I mean, that is a trend, so to speak.
Right.
But I think in terms of plating, there's so much available now. We work with a couple of amazing farms, North Arm Farm.
Oh, right, in Pemberton.
Yeah, in Pemberton. They're great.
The Sturdy Farm.
That's right. Fantastic. So we get a lot of really cool greens that can go dress the plate and give that sort of texture and color. I think it's up to the chef. I think they work with amazing product. We're really lucky.
When you consulted for Bao Bay, when they began,
yes.
What do you do? Walk the neighborhood, try and figure out what the people want? Where do you start?
You take a clicker and you stand outside and you see how many people walk by.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. That was something I thought.
Why not?
Yeah.
Traffic.
Again, when I decided to work with Tanis and do work with Bao Bay, it made sense. It was a calculated risk. You know, you're in Chinatown. Tanis is amazing. She's got a great concept. She's driven. She's passionate. She knows food. She knows drink. She knows service. So it was kind of an easy choice for me.
Right.
So all I really did was I helped support her in the opening stages of when it can be most sort of volatile. In the restaurant.
And do you make the decision, we'll take reservations at this restaurant or we won't take reservations? We want lineups or we don't, like a Vikram Vij. Vij doesn't take reservations. One of the most successful restaurants in this city.
It works.
Delicious food, great host.
Totally. That was a collective decision based on the size of the room and based on the food concept. We thought, no reservations, rock and roll, let's have a good time. And it worked. I think it works really well for Bao Bay.
Well, somebody told me if you're going to Bao Bay, go to the Kiefer Hotel, my hotel, have a little cocktail, put your name in at Bao Bay, and go back and have dinner. I haven't had the pleasure yet, but I hear it's really good.
Well, we established that great working relationship with the Kiefer Bar back when we opened, and then they soon opened after. It worked perfect. People would come, be like, all right, we're at the Kiefer, give us a call.
Right.
No problem.
And what's the difference for you as a general manager running a restaurant in a hotel or running a restaurant on a street, essentially?
I don't think we have time to tell you the difference.
All different, I'm sure. With the top down,
Yeah, working in a corporate environment is a challenge. I learned a lot working with some great people at the Shangri-La Hotel, and I also learned that I never want to do it again.
Well, you see, that's good.
I don't know if
you may never have to do that again. No, it's okay.
I hope I don't.
It's a totally different atmosphere, as you know, in the hotel world from the individual restaurant world and all of the above.
Yeah.
Well, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Paul Grunberg from L'Abattoir.